Hi everyone, how are you?
Hi, good to see you.
Great to see you again. I'm going to represent you. Everybody knows you, but still. You're head of consumer and retail research for a bank and author of 2 books. The first one is The Bling Dynasty, which you wrote 7 years ago about the future consumption of Chinese. And more recently, Future Lux, which is about the decade of luxury consumption and luxury growth post-COVID. I'm very happy to carry on this journey, this discussion with you. So what I wanted to discuss with you today, in which you develop in your book, in Future Lux, is everything which is around the environmental issues, transparency, traceability, and why is this so important for retail teams?
I think luxury is a bit late, if I'm blunt, in terms of environmental issues, simply because I think there was a bit of complacency for quite a while. Brands were seeing great growth and very high margins and great cash generation and probably thought it wasn't a very important topic. But now they're under pressure to act. And there is a belief that transparency, traceability can actually become a marketing argument as well. Helping you to make inroads with younger consumers who might be asking you pretty tough questions. So again, you were a bit on the back foot. And I've heard several times from luxury managers that Chinese didn't really ask questions about the environment, so why should we care? Well, the Chinese are not asking many questions, mostly because they're first-time purchasers and they have other topics they want to focus on. They want to make sure they buy the appropriate brands. And then if they become a repeat purchaser and they're buying for the 3rd, 4th, 5th time, maybe they'll start asking questions that we hear here in the US, as well as in certain parts of Europe. So there is a catch-up going on. There's a lot of investment going on. I think it's important in luxury, given the prices you're paying, to have that full, trustworthiness and transparency and traceability of products. It's actually become, for Tiffany, as an example, a marketing argument, because when you buy a diamond at Tiffany, they can tell you where it comes from. There are very few jewelers who are capable of doing that. And again, it becomes a marketing tool.
Right. I would even add that it becomes a storytelling tool, the topic which we spoke about a couple
of episodes ago. Yes, absolutely. I think it is part of the arsenal of what you can pitch to consumers. And again, it's buying a luxury product is a question of trust. And if you have doubts on how it's been produced and where does it come from and how are people paid in the process, etc., and then it's a bit of an issue.
Great. And maybe I have a last point which I wanted to see with you is about the second hand. Because today most brands, they outsource the second-hand business to third parties. How do you see the evolution of this business model in terms of externalization, internalization?
I would tend to look at luxury in 2 buckets. There's the Italian way and then there's the French way. I'm French, but I'm not saying it's the best way. The Italian way is what the likes of Moncler and Kering and Prada would do, which is to accept, to be a bit open-minded and work with external partners, whether it's Vestiaire Collective or the Real or the like, and accept that you can't do everything. And then there's the French way, and here I'm thinking more about Hermès, Louis Vuitton, Dior, Chanel, where they're not doing much for now, but I suspect when they'll start to develop secondhand, they'll want to control it, because they're quite dogmatic. They want to control everything from production to distribution. And so I dream of a world where one day you will go on Vuitton.com and you'll see the latest and greatest collection, and potentially you'll see vintage, and potentially you'll see secondhand, but they will run it themselves. And I think they will probably find it important to keep the control, to keep the data, but also to ensure the the authentication of the products themselves and not leave that to a third party. Again, there's no better way. There's a more flexible, more pragmatic Italian way, and there's a more dogmatic, control freak, if you will, French way.
Okay, well, thank you very much. It's been amazing talking to you, Erwan.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for taking the time for us, and we'll be looking forward to talk to you soon.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Look forward to doing more in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Erwan. Thank you.